All right, our last storyteller of the evening. In our last story, there's a woman and Malcolm Gladwell's Blink and Mongolia and a simple twist of fate. Please welcome Scott Sanders with his story, Her Initials Spell Help. Nice big round of applause. Woo!
Okay, I got to be upfront and transparent from the get-go. I'm a neurotic ex-New Yorker trying to make it in the tranquility of the Bay Area. A worried man with a worried mind. I have no idea if this is funny, and frankly, I'm worried about that too. It might be all downhill from here. I might have peaked already. So the next thing is totally out of sequence, but I have to say it because it has relevance later. And I'm very appreciative that my now adult sons are not in the room with us. When they were younger, we were atheists, and swearing to God just didn't make sense to us. So we decided as a group to swear on our penis for all the important stuff. So tell me you'll be swearing your penis, you'll be back by 9 o'clock. Okay, Dad, I swear on my penis. And it was most amusing when said in the company of others not familiar with our mores. So, I have a libido. I feel like I should drink to that. And when this story took place, it was in March 11 years ago, I realized I wasn't having much sex. I had long since stopped brushing up against strangers, so I was waiting to have copious amounts of sex with the right partner. But I wasn't meeting interesting women at Safeway or online. So I decided to make a major change. So I got a self-help book. I read Malcolm Gladwell's Blink. Now, I don't know if you know about Blink. The central thesis of Blink is that your immediate blink of an eye reaction is more valid and more trustworthy than like a careful analysis of everything. So I read Blink, and the very next day, I'm at a gallery opening in San Francisco for the photographer Edward Bertinsky, and all of a sudden, every nerve synapse is telling me that I'm in love with the woman on my left in the proverbial blink of an eye. So who is she? First, there's the avalanching hair. She's 41 years young, tall and athletic, an Audrey Hepburn neck and ice blue eyes. She was whip smart. She went to private school at Hotchkiss, BA Harvard, PhD in rhetoric at UC Berkeley, so I never, ever, ever won an argument. And she had a clean body with a dirty mind. So we hang out at the gallery, and we decide to go to Café Plouffe for a drink. Before I know it, we are making out on BART on the way back to the East Bay. We're, in the blink of an eye, we're in my house, and all of a sudden the mission bells are ringing. I am having a connection of biblical proportions. And the name of this woman, I changed the name slightly to protect the guilty, Hayden Elizabeth Lancaster Parker. Her initials spell help. She's descended from, she has Mayflower lineage all the way back to the Plymouth Rock. Her parents are blue blood wasps. Hayden Elizabeth Lancaster Parker, it's one of those unaccountable names given to an unsuspecting infant by well-born parents. Her parents had a 20-acre estate in Greenwich, Connecticut. Summers on Martha's Vineyard. No reason to clap, just rattle the jewelry. And her parents raised thoroughbred horses and Bouvier dogs. Now I happen to have, I like this part, the American Kennel Club description of Bouvier dogs. Bouvier dogs are powerfully built, of notable appearance and subtlety. Some people find Bouviers charming, but other people find them downright intolerable. Bouviers don't exuberantly demonstrate their affections, and they're highly flatulent. I ask help if she does phone. She says, well, if phone communications don't work, how about smoke signals or graffiti on Oakland buildings? A light bulb goes off in my head. I choose an urban response reflective of my urban roots. I go to Staples, I get a bunch of red Sharpie magic markers, and I begin to write poetic graffiti to help in unisex bathrooms in cafes up and down College Avenue. I am tagging to win the heart, mind, and body, not necessarily in that order, of a daughter of the ruling class. Now, I want help. It's a little bit unclear how much help wants me. One day warm and inviting, the next day cold and indifferent. She invites me to go on a hike and makes me this incredible dinner, grilled tuna with Chilean nectarines, and then she doesn't answer my phone calls for 5 days. We go on a bike ride in the Berkeley Hills, and she actually vanishes around a bend. And then she emails me that she misses me. So we met in the beginning of March. It's now middle of April, and I have to go on a 10-day business trip. Now, most people go on business trips to like Cleveland or Chicago or New York or LA. I have to go to Mongolia. I travel to the inner Mongolian territories of China. So by day, I'm Hunter S. Thompson / Gonzo international businessman wandering in Lawrence of Arabia landscapes, guys on camels with ammo belts around their shoulders and swords in their waistbands. And at night, I'm in a modern hotel room. And I gotta say, the hotel room, the design was orange on orange on orange. The toilet was orange, the bed was orange, the curtain was orange. Whole other story. But I have my laptop, and I'm sending emails to help 7,500 miles away, all nerve synapses firing at head-banging speeds. I introduced graffiti to Mongolia in dive bars and 5-star hotels. It's like a graffiti question if you ever get asked who introduced graffiti to Mongolia. You have it firsthand. So this Romeo returns from the Lawrence of Arabia landscapes of Mongolia to the Truman Show-like town of Montclair, land of title companies and bad restaurants that close at 9 p.m., and help won't see me for a week. And then immediately we have the connection again, and it goes back and forth like this. So, what happens next? I remember, loving help was like taking a shower in a crowded house. You're halfway through the shower, you have soap on your balls and your ass, and all of a sudden the water turns ice cold. Life with help was like solving riddles. In late September, Bob Dylan impacted on my life again. And I've been a Dylan devotee from way back. I once had the largest collection of Dylan tapes in all of sub-Saharan Africa. I once had Dylan lying across my lap in a New York City taxi cab like the Pietà. It was a religious experience, and help knew this. So on September 29th, Scorsese had a documentary on Bob Dylan on TV. And help didn't have a TV. So she calls me up to watch it. She comes over, and very soon after that, I am knocking on heaven's door. I don't know if it was a simple twist of fate, but the times were definitely a-changing. And from that moment in late September till just before Christmas, help gave me everything I wanted. Like the nights were swirling and whirling, and everything was perfect. She gave me a key to our house. I had popover privileges. We were officially boyfriend and girlfriend. I'm swearing on my penis. She's swearing on penis. It's fucking incredible that Hayden Elizabeth Lancaster Parker is swearing on my penis. She says to me several times, Scott, don't let me fuck this up. Just before Christmas, she's going back to Greenwich, Connecticut to visit her family. The thoroughbred horses, the Bouvier dogs, the dark congealing history of who she is. The airport goodbye is cold and distant, sort of like goodbye Columbus. The cut to my best friend, he's a shrink. And I've known him since we went to socialist camp when we were 8 years old. And because he's my best friend and a shrink, and he knows about the ups and downs of my relationship with Help, I share maybe 30 or 40 email threads with him to get his professional opinion. And he distills down 5 months of therapy to 5 words. Scott, you are a moron. He says, this woman's incapable of intimacy. Eventually you grow to hate her. But I still, you know how when you go to therapy and you sort of intellectually get it, but organically not at all? So I still wanted to believe Blink. So Help is in Greenwich, Connecticut at her parents' estate. And I called Katz's Deli in New York. And I arranged to have a dozen knishes, a bucket of half-sour pickles, a salami for your boy in the army, and a dozen H&H bagels to send to the estate. Katz's has a glitch, and they do the same order 3 days in a row. And I can only imagine what her blue-blooded WASP family is thinking, as basically Jew food is arriving every day. Help calls from Florida, and she says, I have a right to be afraid. She says, Bush didn't lay in enough SARS vaccine to protect me. Help comes back from Greenwich, Connecticut, and the airport meeting is very cold and distant, and we basically, even I know it's over. So I'm sorry, Malcolm Gladwell. Blink did not allow my Ellis Island ass to get on the Mayflower. There was no blink of an eye truth. At the end of the day, I was just pretending to be an adventurous pilgrim laden with scurvy, hurling over the side of the Mayflower, because sometimes the eye persists in seeing something that maybe was never there to begin with. I get a bucket and some Brillo, and I go to College Avenue, and I erase all the desperate graffiti and cut to now. In the last 6 months, I've moved. I have a new knee. I'm sort of retired. I'm newly married. And I swear on my penis that things are pretty good. Thank you.